The rain softens the soil and revives the land. It also revives the digging and fighting. As the tempo of fighting increases, the females begin to move among the breeding burrows. Mating season has finally begun. Though red crabs usually mate underground, in these cooler, damper conditions, some are seen in the open. Like everything else about crabs, the act of mating is extremely slow. A coupling embrace can last up to 25 minutes, after which the female moves underground to fertilize and incubate her eggs. The males, however, immediately begin the long journey back to the forest plateau. Recent rains and cloudy days means their return march is a lot easier. They retrace their steps up the same valleys and across the same piece of road that brought them down to the shore. But on the return journey, some crabs find that their path is not as clear as it was a few weeks ago. New crazy ant territories now block their homecoming path, and the killing begins all over again. A day later, these killing fields have turned into a morbid feast to which blowflies are attracted. Within hours, the blowfly's eggs have hatched into voracious maggots. But the ants do not tolerate these intruders. Even the maggots and their wallows of decaying crab flesh are attacked and sprayed with lethal acid. They will soon become more food for the masses of larvae in their colonies. But yellow crazy ants are not just mindless killers. They're also shrewd and skillful livestock farmers. Crazy ants farm scale insects. These red and yellow bulbs are adult scale insects that attach themselves to the surface of the trees. Once attached, they suck sap and excrete energy-rich, sweet honeydew, which the ants harvest and feed on. Wherever in the world these ants are found, their livestock is always close by. These two creatures have developed a close relationship. The ants take the scale to new pastures, and the scale rewards the ants with honeydew. These are a different species of scale insect, but they're farmed in the same way. But the ants have another strategy to increase both honeydew production and their own population. They move young scale insects high into the branches. This helps increase the range of both scale insects and ants. Having an abundant food supply up in the trees means the invaders can spread there too. When the abdomens of the worker ants are full, they pass the honeydew they have harvested to other workers. Scientists hope that if they can find a poison the ants will accept, it will eventually be spread in this manner. Honeydew that isn't gathered can cause serious problems when it falls onto the leaves below. It creates a sooty mold that covers the leaves, stopping them from harvesting energy from the sun, which can cause parts of the trees to die. If the ants continue to spread the scale insects, the sooty mold will also spread and could kill large areas within the high branches of the rainforest. Increased canopy dieback would have a devastating effect on the creatures that live there, especially Abbott's booby. Abbott's booby was once widespread on islands of the Indian Ocean. Christmas Island is now the only place left in the world where they still nest and breed. Even here, 1/4 of the birds' nesting sites have already been destroyed by human activity. During the 1970s, part of the rainforest was clear-felled to allow the mining of phosphate. The phosphate rock is mined and then ground to dust to be exported as fertilizer. Although clear felling has now stopped on Christmas Island, the legacy of the past is still hazardous for the Abbott's booby population. The cleared areas expose the nesting sites to huge wind gusts. It means the birds can sometimes have trouble landing in the trees and may fall. If an Abbott's booby falls to the ground, it cannot lift itself up from the forest floor, so the bird will die, either from starvation or attack by ants. The chick's parents have returned. Abbott's boobies are unique in that a chick spends an astounding 13 months in and around the nest. At a time when most of the island's young seabirds are feeding themselves, the monsoons and a shift in coastal fish populations prevent the chick from foraging at sea, so young birds remain dependent upon their parents for food. Because of the long time spent raising a single chick, Abbott's boobies only breed at best every 3 years, and on average produce 1 independent offspring every 5 years. If the ant explosion is not slowed or stopped, this unique bird may be lost from the world forever.